And I'm like, I'm gonna have to apologize to everybody when I get back up there.
I'd like to call the monthly meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals order at this time. Anyone that would like to speak for or against anything on our agenda, be sure and sign up. The forms are back on the table back there. Also, I would invite everybody to read the rules of order, if you will, that are up on the wall there. If you do have a cell phone, make sure that you turn it off. Okay. Our first item on the agenda tonight is application 24-17V, Jessica Daigle, owner, 1803 Lake Point Circle, approximately 1.5 acres located. You flip my screen here. In land lot 247 of 3rd Land District, the applicant requests a variance to reduce the impervious setback from 150 to 25 feet. Is the applicant present? Okay. Would you come forth and state your name, your address for the record, please?
Yes, sir. Reese Daigle, 1905 Avenue Street, McDonough, Georgia, 30253.
Okay, tell us about your application.
Sir.
If you don't mind, if you'll tell us about your application, please, sir?
The application consists of the impervious line. When we bought the property on the plot, the impervious line was incorrectly designated on the plot of the property that we bought, and we would not be able to build a house according to the neighborhood standards and everything, right? So we had to take out a variance so that therefore the impervious line could be pushed back so that we can actually place a house on the property. This morning we met with Henry County Water Authority, and they grant us, the variance as well to be inside the buffer to get the impervious line. But we also have to come over here and get, you all to agree to it as well if possible.
Okay. Did you buy the property knowing that situation existed?
No, yeah, excuse me, I'm sorry. In actuality of it all, we just found out because they actually had sued us because they were saying that we were in a buffer, but we were arguing with the plot. In the minutes in the court of, in the Henry County Water Authority session we had this morning, the attorney stood up and also explained to them that, we were unaware because they sold us the plot, showing that impervious line way back almost 25 feet, where the line is actually where we're trying to get it at right now. So therefore, the plot was incorrectly, and it's incorrectly recorded as well. So it's incorrectly recorded as well.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board?
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
Okay. Anyone here vote either? Thank you. You can sit down there. Thank you. Anyone signed up?
No,
to
sir.
speak?
No one is signed up for this case.
Okay, then we'll invite an opinion from staff.
Yes, thank you, sir. The community development staff has collaborated with the applicants over the past several months to address setback issues that are also affecting the buffers of Henry County Water Authority. Presently, under the UDO Section 2107B3 mandates a 150-foot buffer zone to be maintained from the reservoir boundary. Due to the peculiar shape of the property and the buffer requirements, the applicant has encountered significant challenges, substantially reducing their available building space. This variance request aims to provide them with the necessary space to initiate the construction of their residence, all while ensuring compliance with the buffer regulations. Granting approval of this variance request would also allow an applicant to take the next step in meeting the procedural requirements of the Henry County Water Authority, which they're currently doing at this time. We also have documentation from the Henry Water Authority. They would go ahead and approve the following procedure in terms of what's needed for them to build if they were to have approval from this board for this variance. And I'm sorry, staff recommends approval to the impervious requirement from 150 feet to 25 feet.
Okay. Okay. Any questions from the board of staff?
I make a motion that we approve the variance request based on the staff's recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we do have a second. Any discussion?
No.
Okay, then I call for a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve application 27-17V, would you raise your right hand, please? It is unanimous, you pass. You do have your variance on that, so you can proceed forward with your permits.
Thank you. Thank all.
So, our next application is application 23-25V, Freedom Builders owners, Jeffrey Lindsay, agent, 1212 Knowles Alley, approximately 0.47 acres located in land lot 201 of the Second Land District. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required lot width of 80 feet to 66.15 feet. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
All right, so would you state your name and your address for the record, please?
Yes, sir. My name is James Nicholson. I'm with Freedom Builders. Our address is 140 Village Circle, Sonoy, Georgia, 30276.
Okay, tell us about your application.
Yeah, Mr. Manager and board members and staff. We're a builder, Freedom Builders. We're located in Sonoy, Georgia. We own several lots in the Meadows, and this lot, that the two adjacent houses are already built, and we're just requesting a variance so we can build our house more in line with the adjacent properties. So when you come out of the front of the house we're building, you're not looking at the back of their house, and they're not looking at the front of the front of the house next to it. We're just requesting a variance there's a minimum lot width of 80 feet and we're requesting a reduction in that, and also a reduction in the side setbacks. There's a requirement that the house have to be 30 foot apart on the plat, and we'll stay there. The build line in the subdivision is 5 foot on the plat, but there's a note saying that it has to be 30, and we're going to stay well inside the 5 foot that's on the plat. And I've got pictures I could show you. Or you can see the proposal. That's the proposal.
Yes.
What we'd like to do. And here's. Do you mind if I approach?
No, yeah, fine.
This is a photograph, and you can see this. Pretty much, that's going to be.
Do we have any time you have?
This is two different pictures.
Oh, it's two different pictures. I'll pass these down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can see this is the house, and that's the back of their house, and that's the garage. So,
I see.
and this is, you can see how that's the garage, and that's
Mhm.
where the be right at the back of the adjacent house.
I see. Okay. Okay, and then the actual encroachment will be at the front, just in that front area where it flares, correct? Any questions?
Is this house being built, you said you're the builder. Are
That's
you
correct.
building this house for someone, or is this a house that you're building to sell, or as part of the subdivision, or what's?
I'm not 100% sure if we have a contract already on this one, or if this one's a spec house. I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure. I'm sorry. I don't know the answer to that.
Yes, sir, we do have two people signed up to speak this evening for this case.
Okay.
He's back.
Would you like these back? Your pictures, would you like your photos back?
I'm assuming the setback is in the code.
Greg Davis, if you would, please approach and state your name and your address for the record, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, good evening. My name is Greg Davis, and I reside at 1234 Knowles Alley in the Meadows community. Today, I stand before you to discuss a matter of great importance to our community. The proposed reduction of the minimum lot width at 1212 Knowles Alley from 80 feet to 66.15 feet at the building line is a 17% reduction in width. This is not just a mere adjustment of measurements. It is a decision that will affect the landscape of our neighborhood. The aesthetic of the Meadows community has been carefully curated over the years, with each home contributing to the harmonious appearance that makes our neighborhood not just a group of homes, but a community. The width of the lots for adequate spacing between homes, ensuring privacy and a sense of openness that enhances our quality of life. Reducing the lot width would disrupt this balance, creating a visual disharmony and potentially affecting the value of one of the largest investments a person will make in their lifetime, which is a home. Spalding County Code of Ordinances, Section 411 states that a variance may be granted only in an individual specific case under such circumstances as will not be a contrary to the public interest. The public interest in this case is the current and future members of the Meadows subdivision. Section 411 goes on to say that a variance may not be granted based on circumstances created by the applicant, such as a claim of hardship based on prospective sales. This excerpt from Section 411 is on the variance application and is well known to the variance submitter. Lastly, we must address the responsibility of due diligence with respect to developers and their prospective sales of homes. Any developer looking to contribute to our community should understand and respect the existing guidelines that have been set forth. These guidelines are in place to protect the interest of the community and the investments of its members. Purchasing a lot carries with it responsibility to adhere to these established standards. I urge you to consider these points carefully. The decision you make will resonate beyond borders of a single lot. It will signal our commitment to preserving the character and integrity of our neighborhood. Let us not set a precedent that undermines these values. And thank you for your attention and consideration of this matter.
Well, thank you, Mr. Davis.
Brad Glass.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Glass, 1132 Sage Drive. Really, Mr. Davis carefully said everything we needed. I was kind of on there in case he had to leave. The only thing that I would add is sort of like the case before, and Davis mentioned it as well. This lot was known to potentially be squeezed, and it was mentioned that the two structures on either side were built. One of them's been there since, I'd say, 17, and the other one is still under construction. And with Freedom building, I believe, 13 houses in the, they saw when the other one was up, and that's a different builder, and they went far from the one to its left, closer to this lot, again squeezing them even further. So I feel like Freedom, as much as they are in our community, had the opportunity to do exactly what we're doing here. We just assumed that, you know, they would do that, as many as they built, because this is what, house number I think it's 12 or 13. So, but that's all I would add.
Okay, thanks, Brad.
Mr. Chairman, no one else has signed up for this case.
Okay. Then we'll entertain a motion from staff concerning application 23-25V.
Yes, the applicant is Freedom Builders Incorporated. The address is 1212 Knowles Alley. Commissioner District is Commissioner James Dutton. The request is variance request to reduce the lot width from the required 80 feet and building line to 65.15. Back in 2004, there was a zone, as part of zoning condition, it was approved that the building line would be at 80 feet. And what the applicant was trying to do was align his development with the existing homes on either side to move that construction up to align with those other homes, so it would not appear to be a staggered development, that everything would be aligned with what's already existed out there. The applicant, again, is seeking approval to decrease that building line width so that he can align with the other residences. Final staff recommendation is to reduce the building line width from 80 to 65.15 feet.
And your recommendation?
The recommendation is to approve for the reduction of that building line, because unless the approach was for there to be a staggered development, which I don't believe that was the intent, you will want your community to have the homes to be aligned if at all possible. So the staff had felt that was necessary for a variance request, just to keep the alignment of the homes that are out there. Because this particular development would be back on the lot to the point where all the homes would be up, and in the front of this development would be further back from the other homes.
Okay, I need to ask one question. If you go back to the drawing, 2 or 3 back, it looks like there's an encroachment on the left. Did that have anything to do with this? Or the placement of that? If you go back to the map,
Are you talking about the Q Public, map? No, that's not, to the drawing that rendering.
see the house that is on the bottom?
Yes, sir. So Q Public maps should not be used for planning purposes. It should just be used for location. So most of these areas, or most of the maps will show an encroachment when in reality there's not an encroachment.
Oh, so
That's
you
why-
said,
That's why we depend more on plats than the actual Q Public map.
okay, but that had nothing to do with placement or anything else because
No.
we're actually across the line on that.
No.
Okay.
Eva, if you would, go back to that rendering, the Q Public map for just a moment, because I have a question. Okay. The house that we see, that is an existing house, correct? That's on there?
Correct.
And
Correct.
so the thought is to move this further back. The request is to be able to move the house further back,
Further up
so
to
that,
align with the other homes that are already out there.
okay.
So we're reducing the setback to the property line, am I understand that correct? So we're shrinking that from,
The building line reduces as you go further up.
okay?
And so that reduction is going to be from 80 to 65.15, because the lot narrows as you go up.
So-
The approval back in 2004 was for that building line to be at 80
Okay.
feet. So he's asking for a reduction so he can move the building up.
Okay. So, but now, he can build as it sits right now. It would just have to be further back.
Yes,
And so.
Yes, he
This
can.
particular property would either be looking at the side yard or potential backyard.
Yes.
Of the neighbors.
yes.
Okay.
Would you like me to show you on the map, where, approximately where the house would be if we did?
Yes, can we do that?
It's up to you.
Okay.
Yes, that'll be fine.
So if we build based on the existing, the front of our house will be back here.
Okay.
And we're asking to be a reduction so we can be more in line with this house, and there's another house on the other side, so we're just asking to be in line, be more conforming to the subdivision.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions from staff, for staff?
No. Any questions for staff?
Any more?
So what we're talking about doing is allowing him to build further up towards the road. Am I understanding that correct? So that would be in line with those homes, because this, looks like this lot is in a turn, in a
That's
corner.
perfect.
And so that would allow him to do that. So what would be, I guess my question would be is if it was not approved, then he would have to build the house further back.
Well, he'll have to build the house as it was approved originally.
Okay.
Yes.
So then that brings a question of, as far as like what we're looking at with the community, what fits in more with the community would be further up and maybe closer to the house on the side, or would it fit in more if they had to build further back? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yes, that
And the
would be
reason
up to
I
you all
ask
to make that
question is
determination.
because I know
Yeah.
that's the concern with the people that live there
Yes,
is, like, does it fit in? So it sounds like they're gonna build either way. So either they're gonna build the house further back, which may or may not fit in with the community, or they're gonna build it in line with the other homes.
yes. And the purposes of this, our staff report is just to present you all with the information. Because, yes, again, they can build as approved in 2004, based on those zoning conditions.
Okay. Any other questions? Then I will entertain a motion concerning application 23-25V.
Before we move,
We need a motion on the floor for discussion, if that's what you're asking.
well, it's not really a discussion. I just wanted to see if the neighbors are understanding what is being asked.
Okay.
Because I would just feel that if it were my neighborhood, I think I would rather them be in line versus a staggered, kind of being very different from everything else. So I just didn't know
Okay.
if what they, I mean, if we deny this, then you're gonna have that one pushed back, and there won't be any continuity or consistency but if we approve it, then everything follows in the same path.
Okay.
As
This is a little bit out of order, but I will ask that anyway. Does the people that are either for and against everything understand what's being said here? Basically, you're gonna get a house anyway. Is it gonna look better forward? Is it in line with the others? Or you're gonna end up one way back? Or if they don't build, you're gonna end up with a messy lot?
We offered to buy the lot, because it's beside our house.
If we need to, if somebody's gonna speak, have them come up and give name and record address.
You can come on up.
It's okay.
We don't bite.
That's fine, come back.
So, I guess I would challenge, and I've not done the math yet, but if the house were to stay as it is today, where the front of the proposed house is basically in line with the rear of the adjacent houses, there is a rear setback of 40 feet, so I don't know if that's,
The only difference it makes in the rear is, the only difference it makes in the rear is that the potential property owner won't have much of a backyard versus, I mean, we're well inside the build lines where we proposed building it at originally, but we would like to, after looking at it, we would much rather it be in line. I mean, we build a lot of houses and we try to make it look as best as we can. I mean, that's our
Okay.
stance. I mean, we
Okay.
want it to look good.
Okay,
It's up to, everybody's got their own opinion, and
Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
So I have one last question.
Okay.
So as proposed, if the variance is approved, where does that put our lot setback as far as distance between homes? Do we have that? Like, how close does that put that to the existing home? And I think it looks like there's one that's being built or was recently built to the left of that home?
They'll meet all setbacks.
Okay.
This is just a reduction of the building line by moving it up.
So they still meet the distance between the homes beside it. They still meet that setback requirement and the distance between the homes and the property line. This is just,
It would be, the lot does narrow.
right.
It does narrow.
That's what I'm
Yes.
looking at on here.
It does narrow.
May I speak? So if we move the property as proposed, on the plat, there's a 5-foot build line, but there's also there's a statement on the plat that says the houses had to be 30 feet apart. So there has to be 30 feet of separation between the houses. It would be less than the 30 feet.
So
But
if,
it'll be inside the 5-foot build line that's on the plat.
so I guess that as a follow-up question, staff, so if we approve this variance, then we're also gonna have to see another variance for the distance between the homes, am I understanding that correct? So we'll have to hear this one again.
Yes.
Oh,
So that brings us from the 30 feet requirement. How close does that get us? Do we know?
I don't know the exact distance, but it's probably close to 20 feet. I can get the exact, but I
What,
don't have that.
that variance request was not made with your application.
Yeah, I guess we.
So I would suggest that this application be put on hold.
we just table it. Okay.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for that then.
I move to table application 23-25V, so
I'll second
that
that.
staff and
We
property
have
owner.
we have a motion second to table. All approved? Would you raise your right hand, please? Okay, we're gonna table that,
Yes.
to look into it a little bit further.
I second it, yes.
You made the motion.
You made
Okay,
second.
sorry.
Did I make the motion?
You made the motion.
I made the motion.
That's what I was
It's been a
thinking, but
long
you
day.
made the
I made the
motion. I had that
I
down.
promise I'm here. So,
Okay. I need to find out exactly what you were talking about here with that second variance that's gonna be coming, because I did not understand exactly what was being said there.
Well, the applicant, he's going to have to regroup in terms of what he's actually asking for, because that's going to cause for a second variance. So that's why I'm requesting that we table.
Okay,
so that they can be.
and the second variance will be,
Reduction of side yard setback.
Okay. All right, so we good? Okay. All right,
okay,
That's my recommendation.
okay.
okay.
Yeah, and we voted to table it.
Okay. Well, then we'll table it, we'll look at, as that comes back, we'll look at it again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, our next order of business is, and thank you for your time. Our next thing on the agenda is the minutes of our last meeting. Consider the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion that we approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, it's been so moved. Have a second? Have a move and a second. All in favor, would you raise your right hand, please? Okay, we have one that didn't vote because he wasn't here. How about a report from the director? You have something?
I have none, but we are planning a workshops. Newton, is that going to be sometime next year?
We want to get a schedule,
Yes.
I'm sorry. We want to schedule a zoning 101 meeting, essentially education for particularly new members,
Okay,
both here, the planning commission, and anybody on the board of commissioners that wants to come. We do that after new people are appointed, and we haven't done that yet, so that's going to need to be set up. And to be candid, I need to talk with Dr. Steve on getting dates and so forth for that to be done.
And I brought that up because I would love for the entire board to be a part of that once it's scheduled.
This year will be more important than some in the past because of the changes in the zoning procedures law as to what applications come to you versus what applications go to the planning commission to get to BOC.
Okay,
That's all I have.
okay, thank you. Any comments from the board members?
No.
Well, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Uh,
Oh,
Don't you have minutes to approve?
we did.
We
Oh, you
did?
did? I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Excuse me.
I think
I'm
we
sorry.
did.
Just
I did.
checking.
I made the motion. I
I'm
remember
sorry.
that.
Everybody must be tired this evening.
It's been a long day.
Aren't you guys?
Friday, here we come.
That's right.
Who did the second for adjournment?
I'll
Thank you,
second
Adam.
it.
All,
I made the motion, and then
Oh.
Ms. McCord second.
Okay, thank you.
all
For the adjournment?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, meeting over.
So moved. All right.